Different roofers have different levels of different capabilities, and it doesn't necessarily equate to their size. I've had a PE-backed roofing company that I delivered 1,200 leads to, did not knock a single one. And then I've had a little guy go out and capture 4,000 properties and knock almost every single one. I tell roofers today, like, if you've got door knockers, fantastic. Continue to do those different things. Multi-layered approaches in marketing are only going to get you more work, more revenue, more contracts. Being on 60 Minutes, that segment on national news was us doing something benevolent for community without asking for anything in return. We want to continue to help homeowners and enable homeowners with data and transparency.
What has been your biggest disappointment?
It's taken forever. We have raised just enough money to put together a product, make it viable, and get it stable, but it's taken a long time.
Welcome to the latest episode of season 2 of the Roofing Millionaires podcast, the only roofing podcast where we don't promote anyone and we don't sell you anything. In this episode, we are sitting down with Bobby, co-founder of Stormview, a platform that uses drones and AI to find roof damage and put that information in front of homeowners before they even know they have a problem. Now, before you think this is a promotion, it isn't. We have asked Bobby the hard questions, the legal risks, the accuracy limitations, what it actually costs, what is the ROI, and most importantly, whether this is actually the right tool for your roofing business or not. If you find any value in this episode, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so we can keep bringing conversations like this one to you. Let's dive in. Would you just briefly introduce yourself and tell us that who you are, what are you doing these days, and how did you end up in the roofing industry?
I am Bobby Quinn. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Stormview, formerly known as Paypixl. And we built an application that allows roofers to use drones to do reconnaissance in their service areas by basically combining the drone imagery top down, looking at roofs throughout a neighborhood and applying damage detection AI. We're able to tell a roofer where all of the damaged properties are and generate automatic reports that show the homeowner address, contact information, and also highlights all of the damage on the roof that the AI detects. We put that on a map and we make a product that can easily be sent out to the homeowner to review on very first contact with them. So in other words, you're able to show a homeowner first time you meet them that they've got damage on their roof, exactly where it's at, and a really intuitive UI online. The goal there is to earn more business as a roofer through upfront data and transparency.
Okay, so tell me first that what is the difference between Paypixel and Stormview, because this is something that I am confused about too.
Yeah, so we built Paypixl originally, started back in 2018, and we built it as a tool for drone pilots to be able to deliver their files to their customers and do so in a single link where they can have an invoice attached, they could watermark their photos and videos. And yeah, so we launched that, and by the time we hit 2020, I think we had like 3,000 pilots in the United States and growing organically. Now we have 6,600 pilots across the world using the system. And the system's still there. It's somewhat deprecated. We're not really focused on building it out. But we realized quickly that if you're building a marketplace and it's a services marketplace, so you're looking for people to do things for you, you have to have both supply and demand. And supply is easy to come by in this model. Drone pilots like the product that we have. They signed up for it. We have their information. The hard thing was the demand, because I think a lot of people, a lot of companies and organizations, they aren't ready to take drone imagery to a scalable solution for them in the company. So you don't get a lot of consistent work there, and the economy is not great. So we reevaluated what we can do. We're like, okay, so we have all these drone pilots in a network. We need to build a product. We need to create the demand essentially for the marketplace. We had this application that people could place orders for drone imagery. And we're like, why don't we make it free for pilots to be able to go out and fulfill imagery for homeowners that need it? We can help people. The community can come together. So we did that. And we had like an overnight success. It was 2,400 orders in 24 hours from the damaged area, the ground zero of the hurricane. We got on CBS 60 Minutes, and through that, we had a lot of people reach out and said, "This is amazing. I don't think you realize what you built. We would love to invest in you." So Stormview began. That's essentially it. So we ended up in the beginning of 2024, pivoting
Mm.
to Stormview specifically. It was a product name first, and now we're DBA as a business. But this is this is born through like getting more information as a roofer. How do you make the unseen seen? And how do you do it in a way that is extremely easy so every person can pull that data and collect it and prepare that data?
Tell me, how does it feel when you are featured in media platform like CBS, and how does it feel that you created something, now it is catching real attention? Maybe you did not expect that as well.
Well, I appreciate that question. It's probably the same as I feel on the podcast today. Is I think there's a sense of guilt, like I don't belong here in a way. We
Uh-huh.
fair and roofing, like I couldn't spell roof when I first started. I had a pressure washing business and did low pressure roof cleaning, and that's about it. I broke tiles. I know the sound of breaking tiles a lot, and that was like years before this ever took place. But when CBS interviewed me, I was very nervous because I had an unbuilt product. It was not refined and it was all over the news.
Uh-huh.
So it was what it was. And then people made their opinions based off of what we built. So at the same time, it was really cool to see the effort of my co-founders, two of my co-founders, Cooper and Kyle, who have built this. And it's been a passion project for all of us. We put thousands of hours into building it. So I had to carry the torch for them, carry the flag for them into the interview and do the best I could to represent the three of us. And here I am. So, for what it's worth, we're not going anywhere and we're just happy to be here.
Okay. Now tell me what happens, Bobby, if I sign up for Stormview right now. Like, what is the process that I have to go through?
Sure. Hopefully it's easy for everyone. We've worked on it pretty hard to be super easy to get in, sign up. If you're a roofer, you can go to stormview.io and walk through the process of creating an account, and then you choose whether you're a drone pilot signing up on the platform or you're a roofer. And then it takes you through and it has you put in some information about your company. So
Mm.
you'll be admin starting out. And then once you create your account, you get into the UI, the interface, and you can invite team members. With that, we have unlimited seats and we have unlimited areas that you can set up for yourself. And, basically once you establish your service area, it automatically
Mm.
pulls in 3 years worth of weather data mapped and visualized. And then you can choose multiple areas. So say if you're a single roofer, in Illinois, you can have your single ring there for your service area. It's a 25-mile radius by default. You could define
Mm.
your own area too. But if you're a PE-backed company, say there's like 11 states that you have under your operating window, you can have all 11 states. The cool thing about Stormview and the way that we built it is it's really to be an alternative to like a command view in your office. So have it up on the TV, you have a map of the US, you know where the storms are at
Mm.
actively, you know where the leads are at, you know where the people are flying to go collect the data. So yeah.
Okay, if I am a roofing contractor and I am having constant lead generated by either by ads or by knocking doors or by just organic platforms, or maybe I'm purchasing leads, why do I need to sign up for Stormview?
I think most roofers would agree that the last 2 years has been pretty volatile in the roofing industry. And I think a lot of that goes back to March 2023, when in Florida, Governor DeSantis enacted a law that was the result of some heavy lobbying from the insurance side. And it changed a lot of the rules for the game for a lot of people. It put a lot of PAs out of business in Florida. They moved on, went somewhere else. It also hurt the first party claims attorneys as well as all the roofers, right? And what resulted was a dramatic drop in the amount of claims that were approved. So you have with that, you have a couple of things that happen there. The storms, they're more inundated than they've ever been, and they result
Mhm.
with in less claims being accepted over that storm, over the body of the storm. So you have more people that are elbow to elbow in the space, and they're dying. You have roofers that have dropped 50 to 70% revenue that we've spoken to, hundreds of roofers at this point over the last two
Mhm.
years. And they're looking not just to survive, but to grow. So the shift is major. It's to shift to retail. You got a retail model that you have to focus on. And you
Mhm.
have those that may have done 80 to 90% claims, and now they're doing the same for retail. They're flipping it. These guys are finding out quickly that the old leads that they were buying were focused on the claims because that model was pretty repeated. But you have a storm that hits a zip code. People call the zip code and look for homeowners that are willing to do an estimate or an inspection on their roof to look for damage. Now, if that lead was priced the same in this, current situation, you're going
Mhm.
to find ROI is a lot less, that the leads are going to cost more, they're less effective. When you're generating less revenue, you got to let people go. You have less money makers on your team. You're still paying for a product at the same price that has less ROI. You've got to find an alternative. So if you look at retail and you build out retail models, like where are your leads coming from there? And you have, your print marketing, you have your billboard marketing. You of course have the traditional stuff like the door knockers and direct calling, right? But what's special about Stormview is that I think anybody that's in sales can agree that when you're selling, you have to create a sense of urgency. Like now, you
Mhm.
got to create FOMO, a sense of urgency, and you got to time box that person that you're selling to, at least for them to perceive that they're going to miss something if they don't go now, right? If your call to action retail is scan here to get a quote for your roof, the average homeowner isn't going to realize they have damage on their roof. They're going to look at it from the mailbox and they're going to go, my roof is fine. I'm good. I'm all right. And they might see some discoloration from the other roofs in the neighborhood, but there's not a drive to action for them. What we do is we put a report right in front of them. We say, hey, this is your roof. In
Mhm.
fact, that's one of the mailers. This is one of our ugly mailers that we keep internally as a joke, but still the same is there's a picture of your roof and it says, you got damage on your roof. This is your roof right here.
Mhm.
QR code,
Mhm.
you can takes them down to the shingle or the tile, and they can actually see the damage, the cracked tiles, the missing shingles, whatever it may be. And then we define what that is for them. Like, okay, that's a cool image, but so what? We give the homeowners the so what. So we educate them too. Like your roof is going to cause the damage on your roof is going to lead to leaks. You have to address these things. And as a homeowner with insurance, you're required to maintain your roof. We make it easy for them while they're looking at that report to just click and get a request, and that goes to the roofer who created that lead. So that's why I think everybody should have it. You're going to find out as we're adopting, pretty quickly.
Mhm.
We're that initial early adopter window. We're moving into like full production where roofers are just coming in and trying a lot. I think we're at like 100,000 roofs captured now in our system and growing quickly. You're going to see that this is one of the most effective, if not the most effective, retail lead source in the industry.
Now, speaking of retail lead source, you just mentioned that if I sign up, that I will have to choose a zip code. What is the working model here? Like what I am getting from you is that if there are four major areas in a city and there are four major roofers, roofer A gets area A, roofer B gets area B, roofer C gets area C. Now, every roofer has their own area, and now it's not like chuck in a truck where all the roofers are fighting for the one single roof. Is that the working model that you are talking about?
It's not actually. In fact, we didn't want to do that specifically
Mhm.
because different roofers have different levels of, different capabilities and different efforts, and it doesn't necessarily equate to their size. I've had a PE-backed roofing company that I delivered 1,200 leads to, and
Mhm.
they did not knock a single one. And then I've had a little guy go out and capture 4,000 properties and knock almost every
Mhm.
single one. So it's really interesting, to see how that plays out. What I tell roofers, and for better or worse, and maybe I could find a better analogy, but this is like a knife fight, right? Roofing is a
Mhm.
knife fight. If you've ever been to a storm, I've seen it firsthand, where you've got sales guys on segways and they'll get nearly into fist fights at the end of the driveway. And they're stepping over each other on each other's sails and pulling signs out of the yard. It's crazy. So to say it's a knife fight is not super off. Well, we're selling guns. We're selling rifles, kitted out rifles with great optics and night vision to roofers in that knife fight. We don't want them to play fair. We also want them to compete in the same area. So we
Mhm.
designed the system so that there's overlap. We don't sell any exclusivity at all. Your domain is what you make of it. The cool thing is that with that, the data is partitioned. So roofer
Mhm.
A won't see anything that roofer B captures, and roofer B won't see anything that roofer A captures. But they will see little footprints like fire ants on their map where people have gone and captured. So they'll see neighborhoods that have been flown already. And when they click on that point, it just shows a date, the last capture, but it doesn't show any roof data, homeowner data, nothing. You have to fly that as a roofer to collect that data. But you can see
Okay.
where people are flying in your area.
Okay. I'm getting it. Now, speaking in your language, if everyone has the same rifle, then do you believe that it depends on the skills of the person who is using that rifle? that what is their closing percentage, or there are some other factors as well, like if we speak in roofing terms, like how much trustworthy someone is, or what is the brand recognition and stuff like that matters as well. Like Stormview is just giving them the info, but the basics of closing the sale remain the same.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. If you have one roofer that maybe puts some minimal effort in and they go to 2 touch points with that homeowner, on average in the industry today, it's 10 touch points to convert a homeowner. So if you have roofer A is doing 2 touch points and roofer B is doing 8 touch points, and roofer B is, getting more gross out of the platform and more ROI, that's why. And that's one thing. But you said it yourself, is the sales skill, is the soft skill with people is really important. I've been to some organizations that have a great salesmanship about them. They train their new guys. They're constantly training back and forth in scenario-based training with them. And then there's other roofing companies that just don't do anything. There's no organization there to help their sales staff out. In that case, I'd always say that, the team that is preparing and training and researching and doing better is going to do better. Steel sharpens steel, if you will. So just in the real world, like if you give,
Yeah.
3 people rifles, it's going to be the person that knows that rifle the best and handles it the best, that's going to be able to succeed. But my thought is everybody is going to succeed with Stormview. It's just at what level and what degree.
Okay. Now, let's say that roofer A has data about a roof. Roofer B has the same, not the same data, but roofer B has the data about that same roof as well. They go to that roof. They both are in there. Now, roofer A is saying that my data is correct. Roofer B is saying my data is correct. How do you handle that situation?
So if are you assuming that both roofers are using Stormview data?
Yes, both roofers are using Stormview data, and both roofers are saying that mine is correct.
Sure. So it's very, very likely that the information is going to be identical
Mm.
or very close to. So roofer B, assuming they came late and they captured it, they were the last person to capture the roof. If the data hasn't changed, if the say a storm hasn't gone through and caused more damage, the roofer B found. So all things the same, you're going to see a report that's very similar. So the homeowner is going to see that twice potentially. They say they might get. Roofer A has the mailer, the ugly mailer that goes out. By the way, these are more beautiful. You can get them very
They
not
look
this.
nice on your website. Yes.
I'm gonna shout out to Kyle on this one. He wanted to make the
Uh,
ugliest one he could possibly make and send it to me. So this is my co-founder's humor for me. But say Roofer A sends
uh,
this mailer and Roofer B has this door hanger, and they're both straight through the site. Like you can capture them this way. So this has got a QR code. It says you've created, or we found damage on your roof. Scan here to see it. Roofer B, Roofer A. It's going to come down to where the homeowner decides to park, right? At the end of the
uh,
day. So they choose this, and like this is the second one that come, they're going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to scan it, and their data, they're going to get a notification or send a notification to Roofer B, who dropped the door hanger, that they're looking at their roof. And Roofer B is going to get that notification, hey, call this homeowner. They're looking at their roof report right now. Roofer A might not get that notification. So they may be out. That shows the importance of the follow-up, right? Being the last person to have a touch point with that homeowner is gonna be the thing that gives you the most advantage in the situation.
okay. Who is the type of roofer that you feel, because you are like, I'm assuming that in the earlier stages, and you just mentioned that okay, there is a specific kind of roofer that can work with this right now. Obviously everyone can work with this in the future, but right now, who do you feel is the ideal roofer who should sign up for this? Like, you want to tell me that, Muhammad, if you have this level of team, if you have this level of skill set, if you have this level of revenue, maybe, then Stormview is a good fit for you. Otherwise, you might be wasting your money, your time, or your efforts, because you just said that you had a PE guy. He's not able to make much of it, but that other guy that you just mentioned, he's like having great conversions with it. So who is the right kind of ideal customer for Stormview?
Sure. Good question. So our ideal customer profile is a roofing company that's generally making 2 to 3 million, and their successes are fundamental. They're at their core, they're just naturally doing 2 to 3 million in a year. That's not a lot. That's not a large roofer. That's a small roofer. And they are able to pivot quickly. They're able to grow with technology quickly and adapt quickly. They are a forward-thinking roofing company, so they're using technology already in their stack to solve problems, and they're hungry for more. You get when I hear a roofer say, we're using drones right now. We have 4 drones in the company we're using for
Mhm.
inspection inspections whenever we get a lead. We're building the inspections and giving them to the homeowners. I'm like, okay, tell me more. This is where we're going. This is great. Yeah, we do 3.5 million a year. I'm like, okay, sweet spot. That's right on the bat where we want to be, because I'm confident that by using Stormview and religiously
Mm,
using it, actually using it the way it was intended, those people are going to see a huge multiple in their revenue. They could go 4, 5, 6 million after the first year. A lot of that was generated by Stormview. That's going to be a huge win for us at the end. When we can say that we've doubled or possibly tripled somebody's revenue by using our system, that is going to be a story in and of itself of giving us, a pathway to success. It is built for every roofer, and with the pricing that we have at $60 a month, starting out with 100 scans, anybody,
mm,
a roofer starting out today could use it. So we're helping roofers that have like less than 1 million revenue and
mm,
getting that up and going for them. We want to help them and work with them and getting the data collected and how to do it. But we also want to go in and train professional organizations as well, because the truth is this is an extremely scalable product. The value is there for sure, and the pricing is right. So if you have a PE company that's going to spend $2 million a year on all the scans and all the operations to go collect the data, we want them to walk away with like a 10 to 15x minimum ROI.
Okay, you just said that you want people to have 2x, 3x of their revenue, and you are still working with the contractors. What is the current level of response that you are getting from them specifically about revenue?
Sure. So at the moment, this is the tough
Uh,
question and this is the hard answer to give, but it's the true transparent answer. I would say that we opened the doors in January, and we didn't really start getting traction until like late February, March, and opening up. So like before that, we worked with a closed number of customers for a certain amount of time. We had about 80% churn in the first 2 years because we're trying to figure things out and evolve
mm,
and iterate through the business models, which have changed significantly over time. The 20% that stayed behind, or I should say the 20% that continued with us through that alpha test and the beta test, love us. They don't want us to go anywhere. They have completely evolved their operations around us, and they
mm,
center on using Stormview as their primary means of lead generation, which is amazing. It's a concept that I'm happy to see. It's my child. It's my baby, but I love to see it working for them, and we're going to continue to pour effort in to make that more successful for them over time. With that, the new adopters are trying to figure it out. There's a sense of like, we're 2 months in, we're trying to feel our legs with it. How do we get the data? The big thing is like, who is the drone pilot that's going to go capture this? And that interaction layer between the roofer and the drone pilot, if they're not the same person, we're refining the business around that and the software around that. But right now, that's kind of like uncharted territory for us. So we're feeling that out. As that becomes more efficient, I think you're going to see a very quick adoption rate and a lot better success rate. When a roofer collects the
mm,
data, pulls it in, starts using mailing campaigns, calls their homeowner, they see a huge number in terms of their effort. So we say generally 3 to 4% is what you can anticipate on closing if you're a roofer and you're doing the things the way you're supposed to do. So if you go out in a day and you fly 1,000 properties with one pilot, that's a lot. That's a lot. Generally, like 5 to 600 properties a day for a single pilot is good. I've flown 1,500, so we'll say a good day, 1,000, simple math. And of that, 20% of that is damaged properties. Like there was a storm in that area. So you end up having 1,000 properties you flew, 200 of
mm,
them are damaged. And at that point you take 200, you're going to look at 10% of that being 20 roofs, right? And if you're at 3 to 4%, you're looking at anywhere from like 8 to 9 roofs in that month to close. So that's how it's working out today. I feel those numbers are fantastic. When you're talking about pricing and
mm.
effort and volume, it takes one close to pay for Paypixl for a year, Stormview rather, for a year. So yeah, the thing that we keep preaching is, hey, we made it really easy to engage with the homeowner, use the systems in place on the software to reach out to them. Let the system work for you. We've invested a lot of time to make it simple for you. Even something as simple as generating the QR code on the door hangers and printing out the door hangers and having
Mm,
the pilot who flew that area process the data instantly and then go back in
mm.
the same day or the very next day and just leave door hangers at every single door that was damaged.
Okay, I was just gonna ask you about the data collection, but since you just showed me that door hanger, is that an additional charge or that comes with the basic package?
That comes in basic package. Now, that's a
Uh,
PDF file.
okay, 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 I get it. Yes.
Yeah, so you can take that to your printer
Mm,
and mass print it, but we
mm,
generate the PDF with that QR
mm,
code. So it's but we also give you a QR code to download. You can download as an SVG or a vector. And that one
mm,
QR code is for your whole company. Technical. I guess we can get technical for just a second, but you have two different types of QR codes. You have the mass mailing QR code, which you can download in your settings, and you could
mm,
do any print any kind of mailer mass mailing out. The QR code is never going to change. So if a homeowner scans this, they have to put in their address. They have to put in their phone number and verify it, which is awesome. So as soon as they get their report, you have a verified number for the homeowner, and you know that they're looking at the report because the QR is trackable. If you have a direct mailer that goes out like this,
mm,
this QR code is generated at the time the mail is generated. So when somebody scans this, it's already going to have their address in there. They're already going to see their property. All they got to do is verify their phone number and part that, in that part of the process, you also get notified, and that's how that works out. So door hangers, no extra cost. Mailers are an extra cost.
okay. And how does the data collection happen? Like, who collects the data and how?
Roofer is going to be responsible for collecting the data. We
Mm,
do have a service that we offer that allows us to fully manage drone operations for the roofing companies. Say if you're a roofing company that doesn't have drones in your system, or you don't have any Part 107 pilots, and you want to be legal in your operations, you want us to handle
mm,
that. We totally can. So what that looks like is the roofer can say, okay, they can be as hands on or as hands off as they like to be. They might say, just go fly the current storms for us and do about 1,000 a month that you're uploading. No problem, we can do that. So we'll find the most recent storm areas. We'll send our pilots and task pilots from the Paypixl network to go fly and
mm,
collect that data. That pilot will upload it through our link. The roofer will end up with that data on their system. That right now is priced today at $2 a property. So if you're flying a
mm,
thousand properties a month, it's $2,000, and we'll fly all of that for you. If you're doing it on your own, of course you decide when and where you want to go. Doing it on your own is you could take this to an active storm and go fly
mm,
out ahead blitz and map out your entire area. So your team that's doing the blitzing behind the
mm,
pilot can see, hey, we're going to knock these doors. We're not going to knock these doors because there's no damage on them. Why waste your time? It's a significant tool for maximizing your efficiency in the storm and taking your vital resources that are finite. You only
mm.
have what, 6, 7 door knockers on your team. You don't want them going to the 90% of roofs that don't have damage there, because they're not going to get anything out of it. Instead, have them go faster through the neighborhood and only knock all the damaged doors.
Okay, and are there any prerequisites for the pilot to sign up? Because I am an engineer as well, and I know that on the back end of this, the accuracy of the data depends on who does it and how does it do it. Like, how accurate do you measure everything, and like, is there anything like that associated with the collection of data for Stormview?
So I will say this, and if my drone people are watching, we've made a name for ourselves in the drone industry as well.
Mm,
So I'll say this: the one thing is regulatory. Technical and feasibility, as far as like taking the low man or the layman to do it,
mm,
anybody can fly a drone and anybody can collect this data. It's super easy. After about 5 to 10 minutes of looking through our instruction deck, you're like, okay, I can do this. It literally takes you being able to launch the easiest drone in the consumer market to fly and going and
mm,
collecting data. That part's easy. Train Monkey can do it, no problem. The regulatory issue is
mm,
something a big deal. So that is the law states that you have to have a Part 107 license in order to operate that drone for your company for any kind of furtherance of the company, whether it's pecuniary or not. Meaning, are you paid
mm.
for it or not? It doesn't matter. If you're flying in pursuit of building business for a company, you have to have a Part 107 certificate in the US. If you don't, you're operating illegally and you put yourself into a liable situation. So that's the big thing. Now, let's be real. Roofers generally don't have their Part 107 license, not yet. They have drones and they're using them just like realtors are using. It's not great. It's not fantastic, but I'm not a cop. I used to be. I'm not a cop anymore. And kind of like the FAA, we go, hey, this is what should happen. Don't limit anybody from uploading the imagery to the platform, because any point,
Mm.
a drone pilot can hand their manager the imagery to upload. If that manager wants to upload the imagery, that's fantastic. So we don't stop anybody from uploading, but we do tell
Mm.
roofers, and we're pretty strong about it. Like, if you want to avoid the liability, either use Part 107 certified pilots or use the pilots in our network. If you don't want to do that, that's on you. That liability is not on us.
And do you guide them about getting this certification?
Yeah, we've also partnered with the Pilot Institute. Pilot Institute is the leading training company out there for both fixed wing, like real aviation Part 91 operations. So you're
Hmm.
flying, Cessna from a plane, and they also train drone pilots. Greg Reverdio is the co-founder over at the Pilot Institute, and he's an amazing instructor. Makes it really easy, and he's got a lot of passion, a lot of great visuals in their software. So we can help roofers and their entire team, whoever they want to get 107 certified, to get through that process with professional instruction.
Okay. Let's say that if I am a roofing contractor, I'm signed up, I'm having the data. What is the level of control that I have on the data that I collect? By the level of control, I mean that what if I want the roofs that are damaged, let's say up to a level of 80% or 70%? Obviously, you are using AI. Do you have filters like that in your data as well? So if I can pay more, I can get the filtered data. Let's say that I want to work only on replacement projects. So I get that data only, or I can filter that.
So, yes, we have a ton of filters built in. So you can look for
Mm,
specific types of damage. You can look for, say, if you wanted to look for only wind damage or only hail damage or both, you can do that. If you want to go down and isolate down to the actual, like, I want only missing shingles and I want to see only missing shingles on the map, you can hide everything else.
And what is the accuracy of the data that you are collecting so far?
So this is hard without going into the science of AI, and I
Uh-huh.
don't want to do that at this level for our audience because I think I'm going to lose half the people there. But you have recall and precision on the science side of it. Let's say on the accuracy side, one thing up front, big legal asterisk. This is my disclaimer. Because of what
Mm,
we're doing, we are not like the other AI drone companies that are doing full reports. Unlike the other companies that are putting together drone imagery and AI reports, damage reports for a
mm,
property, we are different in almost every way. We're bird dog. Basically, the AI on our side is to say, there's some damage over here. There's some damage on this roof over here. It isn't intended to be perfect, and it isn't captured in a way that's supposed to give a full comprehensive report on a property. You are specifically capturing one single image of a roof from the top down. There's a lot of hidden areas still around those roofs, especially when they're more complex. They have more slopes, more sections of the roof. So with ours, you're just looking at one, and you're just getting that cursory, like, here it is. We, at the present time, I think it's hard on some issues or some instances of roofs. We're like 70% accurate on the damage that's on it. On others, we might only tag 30% of the damage that's on the roof because there's so much damage. So like after a major storm like a hurricane, you're going to see like 30 to 40% of the damage tagged on a roof. Why it doesn't matter and why we're not trying to chase 100% accuracy is
mm,
because when you take that image and you show that homeowner, you say, you have damage on your roof. These are missing shingles. And if the homeowner says, they push back and they go, well, why are these missing shingles highlighted and these are? That's when you tell them that you're trying to move in to do an inspection. The goal for our system with Stormview is to win over a homeowner and get them to the point where they're willing to do an inspection with you. Whether you take that as a claim or retail work, that's totally you and your choose your own adventure style that we have. But what you tell the homeowner is, look, we captured this roof at 100 feet or so with a small drone
mm,
camera. And if we can see damage at that altitude, there's a lot more up close that we will be able to see. That inaccurate data or that inaccuracy, the lack of tagging for all those features, it only helps
mm.
your cause at that point. You say we can see it visually, but we have to really get up close and take a look at the whole roof to know what's going on. That's where your call to action is enabled with common sense that the homeowner can see as well and go, yeah, I see that. Yeah, obviously the AI is not perfect, but fortunately in this situation, it doesn't have to be.
Okay. Let's talk about the legal challenges associated with this as well. I was looking
Yeah.
at your website and you have three zones, I would say, and I would call them, you have named them as green, yellow, and red. I would call them white, gray, and maybe black. So how do you accommodate roofing contractors in each of these areas or phases?
Sure. So the areas of green that you're talking about on our map
Uh-huh.
online are states that have no explicit writing in the law against what we're doing, specifically tied to flying over properties without permission, express permission ahead of time from the homeowner. Um,
Hmm.
Texas is a red state. Texas is the one red state that we have right now. There's a couple that are potentially popping up. Kentucky, there's a law in Senate right now going through the but
Mm,
Texas explicitly states that homeowners must provide express permission to have you capture over their property. That is Bill 423. It's actually Texas Law 423 now. When
mm,
we deal with roofers in Texas, we tell them up front, hey, we don't want to put you in a situation that's going to make you liable. We don't want to put you in a situation where you are unwittingly flying illegally or doing illegal things because that could easily count up against you.
mm,
Those could be founding misdemeanors if, overzealous police officer showed up and wanted to enforce a law that isn't usually enforced. I say that because you get a lot of roofers that go, we're flying now and it doesn't matter. Like we're just doing it anyways. Okay.
mm,
Again, this is where we're not police. This is where we're not a regulatory figure. Well, we have software available to them. If they want to upload that imagery and they capture it themselves, that's on them. Not that we want to aid and abet that behavior, but again, we won't put a block on that in the system. We do tell them though, however, operating under that without Part 107 in Texas, in a state where you can't legally do that, that
mm,
liability falls on. In the yellow states, we have attorneys that are drafting up opinion letters. We have one for Florida. We are working on one for Texas to see if we can get through that right now. But going back to the yellow, like Florida and Georgia, my wife is a litigating attorney. She has
mm,
spent 8 hours writing an opinion letter for Florida. I think Florida next to Texas is the most stringent state as far as flying over properties. It
mm.
really comes down to one thing, and that's the definition of what surveillance is. Florida as well as Texas. So the attorneys are looking at the actual down to the word to determine the legality of that in the state. If a company is
Okay.
in a yellow state
Uh,
and they want to make sure that they're
mm,
operating legally, we always tell them check with your
mm.
attorney. And if we have an opinion letter, we'll provide that to them that they can give to their counsel as well.
Okay. Hey, you are the founder of this business, and I'm sure that you think about the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios because that's what we as business owners do. So, have you ever thought or anticipated that what if these yellow states they turn green, or what if that is the best case scenario, but if the yellow states turn red, then what would happen to the positioning of Stormview?
Good question. And it's fair. It's a good time. It's a bad time in the drone industry, and it's a good time to address the question because regulations and restrictions around drones are only going one way. You see drones in the news. The stigma's only gotten worse over the last few years with Ukraine and Russia, and now America pouring 67 billion as of yesterday into acquiring new drones for the Department of War.
Mhm,
The stigma's only growing. The fire is getting worse, and obviously we don't have a lot of common sense legislation in the United States. It's very reactive, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease, if you will. So as these yellow states turn red, and I think ultimately they will, we're going to have less and less revenue potential. So in that case, we're going to use our success here to slingshot into other technologies to continue helping roofers find work and build their revenue. We have a few ideas right now that fall outside of drones and use sensors from airplanes. But until we get to that point, we're only speculating. So the goal here is run as fast as we can. Uh,
mhm.
without falling down and capture as much revenue for the roofers and us as we can while these states are still legal to fly in.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about some objections that roofing contractors might have as well, or hurdles you can say. So let's say that I am a contractor and you just mentioned that the purpose of Stormview is just to get you better at that inspection that you are going to have. Like you have more context about the roof. So when you show up at that house, you are more prepared. Now, let's say that I tell you, Bobby, that I already have door knockers, I already have ads running, I already have billboards, and let's say that I already have brand recognition in that town as well. So even if I show up, I don't have the data, but the homeowners trust me. So do you put Stormview in comparison of all these lead generation platforms or avenues, or do you think that Stormview itself has a unique category and positioning that roofing contractors need?
That's a good question. I'm of course extremely biased, so I'm
Mhm,
going to answer it in the way that it's inherently natural for me to answer. And I'll say that it's in its own category for sure. With that, I also see it as an additional layer. What I mean by that, to elaborate, is I tell roofers today, like if you've got door knockers, fantastic. You should continue door knocking the traditional way that you do. If you have mailers, you should, continue to do those different things. Multi-layered approaches in marketing are only going to get you more work, more revenue, more contracts. We are an additional layer. And what I tell roofers is this, is as you're building using Stormview, that it's going to do a couple of things for you, right? It's going to not just give you the information to go capture that homeowner at that day. As you build that database out, you're able to see a visual on the map in your service area of where the most hard hit areas are with actual data. Like most roofers can tell you today, they've been in the business longer than 10 years. They have a gut natural instinct. Where's the hardest hit areas? Like they know most of the neighborhoods in those areas that they service. Not all, but some. And they'll go and recall like that neighborhood's got some 3-tab shingles. It's really messed up. This gives you the actual data that shows you where you can focus the attention. Where do you go? So one of the big questions here that Stormview answers that people don't see it immediately as a benefit is when the storm comes through, you jump on Hail Trace or whatever software you're going to use to go find that storm. And then you go and you pick a neighborhood and you throw a rock and you go land in it. What this does is if you're using this as an additional layer, you can have your resources, your assets go out, start door knocking in one area, but you have a pilot go in another. And the pilot goes and flies literal reconnaissance. Where are we going to fly next? Or where are we going to knock next? So it's not just a marketing strategy getting to the homeowners the data. It's also building the data that's visual and actionable for you as a roofing company. So you know where to market, you know what zip codes to actually function in. We will always tell the roofer to use those additional layers, that we are complementary, not that we're going to come in and replace them fully. Could we replace them fully? Yes, 100%. Is that the goal? It's not. It's to augment the existing lines of effort that they've got currently.
Okay, that now this question might sound silly, but I know that your customers are roofing contractors, so you have to design your entire customer experience around that persona, that your customers are roofing contractors. But roofing contractors, their customers are homeowners. So speaking of taboos and stigmas associated with drones, I think so they come secondary. There is a taboo or fear associated with a roofing contractor showing up at the door in the first place. The homeowner naturally thinks that, okay, this guy is here to sell me something. Now, the only thing that is happening is the roofing contractor or the roofing sales rep is showing up, and the only thing that changes is that he says that, okay, I have this data as well. But the homeowner still thinks that he is here to sell me something. And no matter what you say about the credibility of the data, that mental scarcity is not going away. So are you doing anything about that as well, or do you leave that part for the roofing contractor?
So yes, in fact, I dealt with that yesterday, going out and I know you saw my post on Facebook, but I was leaving hangars yesterday. I was doing a little experiment with one of the companies that we have in the local area, and I was printing reports and leaving them on doors. And the 5 that we initially talked to, I talked to 5 homeowners out of the 91 that we dropped and knocked. 5 homeowners are great. One homeowner went as far as saying like, "This is an amazing service. Thank you so much. This is great." And I know he was serious because he went back and scanned the QR code, and I got that notification within 15 minutes of him receiving that report. So that was pretty cool. One homeowner was pretty upset. They were an insurance adjuster, and I've had this before when I was a roofing salesman using Stormview to build out Stormview as, the salesman side. You have a lot of people, I won't say a lot, you have some people that are very much tired. They're rubbed raw of door knockers and roofers coming to their house multiple times a day, multiple times a week. Sometimes it could be 20 a week, of door knocking through the middle of the day. They get tired of it. Roofers are hurting. They need it. It's still a necessary thing to go knock a door, but very few people, the crazy people, actually like doing it. They're successful because door knocking, in my mind, is one of the most successful avenues to generate more work. It's the hardest thing to do, but if you've got a good door knocking team, you're going to be second to none. And with that said, right, if you're an experienced door knocker, this data helps you. It helps open up a conversation. It helps get your foot in the door. It also differentiates you from everyone else out there. And that's the strength that you can use at the door. You say, "Hey, I know these other guys are coming through. We actually have something to show you." And it's not just a little thing. This is your roof. You can see all of the damage on it right now, at least the damage that you can see from 100 feet. There's more I want to show you, but I want to talk this, through with you. Now that you're looking at the roof, see back here on the back side of the house where nobody else can see from the road, you're missing 4 tabs, right? That's pretty significant. Do you have a leak there yet? You can have those conversations because they're looking at it visually. And you can say, "Hey, we went up there on a ladder right now," you'd see the same thing. So having that ability to have that flexible conversation or that dynamic conversation around the specific damage on their roof while you're meeting them for the first time is a game changer. Not everybody's going to take. One of the things that you asked if we leave this to the roofer to do or for us, we're third party. We're not a roofing company. So here's where some advantage comes out. Being on 60 Minutes, that segment on national news was us doing something benevolent for community without asking for anything in return. And we have said publicly that we want to take that business model and make it a business model. We want to continue to help homeowners and enable homeowners with data and transparency. How do we do that at scale? The only answer to that is we get the stakeholders in the chain of that repair job or that replacement for the roof, and we get them to pay for the leads, right? So when a homeowner goes to scan their QR code, they go to the landing page for Stormview, not the roofing company, but Stormview. And we
Okay.
say we're the data side. And if they want to look into like, who are you? Why are you collecting imagery of my property? Why are you doing this? Like, what's your point? What are you getting at? And we tell our story there. Based in benevolence, here's 60 Minutes, here's some street credibility and vetting for Stormview itself. We work with great roofing companies and provide them the data to reach out and connect you. Why do we do that? Because we think that it's important that every homeowner should know what's going on with a roof. You're already required to maintain it and inspect it annually on your own. Most people don't
Mhm.
grab a ladder on a roof, especially if you have tile. So let us inspect it for you and give you the data and give you the choice to say yes or no at the end of the day to put that decision back in your hands as the homeowner. And any good salesperson at the door is going to know that somebody who feels like they're in control, they're going to be a lot more comfortable with you. So you put that homeowner at ease. You give them the ability or make them feel like they're in control of the situation, and then you sell them the dream. That's the goal. With Stormview, you can do that really easily.
Okay. That is just something really interesting that you said that when a homeowner scans the QR code, they go to the landing page of Stormview. As a marketer, have you ever thought about this? Like, I can think of this right now that you can maybe position this for the homeowners as well, that they sign up for Stormview and they have a track of their roof record.
100%. Yeah. We're investigating that and we're actually actively looking for partners. I'm looking to partner with the supply chains right now. So we're
Mhm.
actively seeking to work with QXO, ABC, and SRS for that, where it's a different configuration, but I don't want to go too much into that.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
homeowners will eventually have an app and what it's really focused on is hurricanes. It goes back to the specific reason why we started
Mhm.
where the homeowners will be able to make the decisions and get the app and have multiple roofing companies go in and give them an estimate based off of the imagery and the details they capture in the report.
Perfect. Okay, you just mentioned earlier that you started this in January, and it's been like, I would say, 3 months since you have started. What do you feel has been your biggest achievement so far, and what has been your biggest disappointment?
The disappointment first. It's taken
Yes.
forever. It's taken forever. We have raised just enough money to put together a product, make it viable, and get it stable, but it's taken a long time. We originally had 4 co-founders, one furloughed before Stormview pivoted.
Mhm.
So we're left with 3 co-founders to build the core product. One of our co-founders is stepped away for a little bit to focus on his family and spend more time in a more traditional job. So
Mhm.
there's 2 of us working right now on the product. And a lot of the tech, almost all of the tech relies on my co-founder Kyle to build and put together. Fortunately, he's like a Steve Wozniak to me. He's the smartest person I've ever met. I love him like a brother, and he's the
Mhm.
most capable developer that I've ever worked with. So I'm fortunate in that case. So I would say that the strength and the successes is that we've gotten the product to be stable. It's beyond a beta.
Mhm.
It's production level. It's really bulletproof and it's scalable. There's a lot of foresight, a lot of passion put into this when we built it. So we built a pretty cool machine and we're ready to beat the hell out of it and stress test it with thousands of customers. So that's what we're looking forward to now. It's just taken us too long to get here to this point, but I'm ready to have fun and I hope that the roofers that we pull in are too.
And are there any competitors in town for your business as well?
Yeah, there wasn't until February. And then February there was a competitor that popped up and it looks very close to what we're doing. I don't want to operate with hubris and ego. Like I want to be pragmatic that when you do
Mhm.
something successfully, you're going to have competitors in the space. The day we found out about that competitor, I looked over at Kyle. He was sitting in the office and me working. And I go, "Hey, I want you to look at something." And he looked at it and he goes, "Wow, that's like literally exactly what we're doing to some degree." And I said, it's very likely they've been watching us.
Mhm.
If they have or haven't, it doesn't really matter. Doing the same thing. What it's going to come
Right.
down to is the relationship with the roofer. If we build a strong relationship with the roofer and they know they can pick up the phone and call us and we can get them what they need, if they have an answer or a question, we get them a quick answer and we build that relationship with them, we're not going to lose them. So the only differentiator at the end of the day is going to be our soft human relationship with our customers, our roofing companies that are in there. The other thing too,
Okay.
and I think I was
Yes.
going to say one thing. This goes for all
Yes.
companies today, tech companies. Your moat
Uh-huh.
isn't like it was 5 years ago. If you built something, you might have like a 3 to 4 year moat. Now with AI, if you build something that's great, people are going to blow past you. So we're going to have to maintain that. But I think that those people that blow past us and they haven't put all the effort in that we have and talk to the customers at the levels that we have, they're going to miss a lot. They're going to miss the core part of the business, and that's the relationship part.
You just mentioned about building relationships with the roofing contractors. I just read that post about that lady on your Facebook. Have you had any weird experiences with the roofing contractors as well? And another thing that I want you to mention is, what is the level of expectation that you want roofing contractors to have from Stormview? So you can use this platform, maybe if anyone is watching or listening to this podcast, you can tell them that, hey Joe, if you are signing up for Stormview, then this is the level of expectation that you should have, and don't expect it to change your business overnight or whatever level of expectation that you want them to have. And is there any weird experiences that you have had with the roofing contractors in all these months that you have been working for?
Yeah, hopefully I answer your question on this one. Weird experiences, there's not many, but there are guys that will
Mm.
buy the software, they'll get in, they'll create an account, and then they'll never use it. They'll go 1, 2, sometimes 3 months. We have one case that's extreme that I'm working with now where they have
Right.
gone, Charlie, if you're watching, sorry, I'm gonna call you out. Not by name of the company, but
Yes.
14 months, Charlie, buying loyally, probably forgot that he even paid for it. And we missed it. And he called me and he's like, hey, is there any way I can get a refund on it? And I'm like, we were kind of building with that, unfortunately, I can't give you a refund, but you got 14,000 scans in credit. What are you doing? Like, let me go fly. You're local. Let me go fly for you. Let me build this as a success story for you. And if I can build this as a success story for you and set the expectation, as a door knocker myself, as a salesman myself, going out, talking to the homeowners, building the processes and the metrics, let me build this for you in a way that it multiplies your ROI, multiplies your annual revenue, and then use this as a success story. In a year from now, we could show people what we did for you. And he's like, yeah, let's go. That's a huge thing for me. But if you're not going to use it, it's not going to do anything for you. It's going to take money out of your account, not provide anything back. So we're trying to actively go back. A lot of these people came in a year ago when we were in the beta. And to be honest, the communication wasn't great. The onboarding wasn't easy. The UI was just not mature enough. It is now. And we want to bring those people back and say, hey, revisit. It's time to come in and use it. So as far as weirdness goes, it's just the lack of use after buying it is a little weird to me. But we're actively taking measures now. When we don't see a roofer, participate for 30 days, we'll just reconnect and say, hey, have you forgotten about us? Is there something they're blocking it? And we want to know what those limitations and blockers are on the roofer side because we want to help them clear those hurdles.
So my last question to you is that, what is the bigger purpose that you are trying to fulfill in your personal life, maybe, or in the roofing industry with this product that you have? And are there any other products that you plan to introduce in the next 5 years or 3 years or 10 years that will go in line with this product and will facilitate the industry?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mohammed. Thanks for that question. I do have other products in mind for sure. And I don't want to be quick to say those out loud just because I'm usually very open, very vocal, transparent, and I put all my ideas out there and I let people watch me fail
Mm.
publicly and I don't post only my wins. So if you follow me on social media, it's a mixed bag of what you're gonna get. But I have a family. I have two great kids. I have a wife who's an amazing attorney. I've got a good life. I've been blessed. I shouldn't say and I want to do more for them as a father, as a provider, and I want to give my family the opportunity to have options in the future as stuff gets harder for people to live because it's only going in one direction right now, let's be honest. If I can build a company, and I say this to my co-founder all the time, our goal is to build a company that helps companies grow, that helps
Mm.
the consumer make better, more informed decisions with data and making the hard stuff easy. We found our sweet spot. Because at the end of the day, if we're successful, that means that we have mitigated fraud to some level and in the carrier world, because the carriers are going to get some of this data with timestamps of the damage after a storm. before the work has started, and it's going to help them make better informed decisions on that claim. We're going to have a homeowner that gets better information, that is protecting themselves against roofers that go up and cause damage. We know about hand NATOs and actions in the industry by less, say, malevolent roofers that are going to get up and bend things and twist things to better their claim. When they know that there's an image of the property overhead before they ever showed up to the roof, they'll be less susceptible to that. So at the end of the day, we're helping legitimate companies grow. We're making it harder for illegitimate companies to grow, and we're generating revenue for myself. So I have more money for my own personal hobbies and for my family. So at the end of the day, that's it. I've always looked at, giving back to the community, and the more money we make, the more money we can give back and raise for good actions and good causes.
Thank you so much for your time, Bobby. I truly wish you the best for Stormview, and whatever you are doing, just keep doing it and you will find the right people. And I think so that it has the potential to revolutionize maybe the industry, or just to help the people, the roofing contractors, get through the inspections faster. And if you can work on its positioning, and if you can connect this product on an emotional level with both parties, the homeowners and the roofing contractors, and with the level of sincerity you and Kyle have as co-founders, I think so you can make this a really great company. Thank you so much for your time once again. Have a great day.